Okay, so it just took a few minutes. It's pretty straightforward. I just drilled a hole in here so I could start my just my cuts. And so basically my jigsaw, I just went around and did that. I like it half. Again, I'll explain kind of why I like the half. I think you'd be fine doing the whole thing. I just like to have this kind of protection. We get where I live, we get tons of dust. You can see this is all just from being around farmers, and so it kind of helps protect that a little bit. And again, in the wintertime, you'll see how I get a submergible heater. I'll put it in here. I think kind of helps a little protection, but that's what I like to do. I have done some in the past where this whole thing's off, but I just like to have this. Also, too, when I'm setting stuff on here, when I'm filling them up, it's kind of nice to have the hose, something to sit on and kind of tuck it in there. But as you can see, I drilled my hole already, and I'll show you what that looks like. So basically, again, with my 1.5 inch saw drill, basically I just cut this hole out. Nothing fancy about that. But where I like to go, this actually has a watermark, as you see, goes up to all the way to 55 gallons. I always like to put it here, which is just about 10 inches off the ground. So you got your 15-gallon mark. This seems to be just the perfect height for a piglet, basically, when they start out. If you put them in those small nipple waters for the piglets and then changing it out with an adult nipple. But this is still just an adequate size, even for those bigger sows. This isn't too low for them. I can kind of zoom out a touch, but again, it seems about the right height. If you have sometimes a real big sow and maybe you do think that's a little low, I have also lifted these up and put like a, if it's a round of firewood or something like that, to kind of lift it up if you thought it was too low. But I like to do at least this high, just because you get more water. Of course, it'll last you longer, but this seems to be, for me, it works. You know, if I was to put it lower, maybe you start to compromise the strength of it being too low, but I like it here. It just works well for me. I have a bore that has this particular watering system. This usually lasts him about a week and a half, which I think is great, and works for me. So I'm going to hand off the camera to my son, and I kind of explain, show. So kind of going back to, this is where I think this pig water is better than a lot of them. Is, again, I'm going to put this in. It has a rubber gasket which seals that, okay? And so I'm going to put it through here, the rubber gasket on the outside, and then I'll go and I'll show you. So these have, what I like about these is they actually have an arrow to remind you how to tighten it, which direction to go when I put it in the inside, and I'll show you the tools with that. And again, we're going to use the PVC. I'm going to use some Teflon tape. I always like to use that to put it in here, and then the nipple will go after that. So I'll show you how to tighten that here in just a second.